The Ordinary Discussion Podcast.
I mean, yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I just feel extremely like a lot of people are like, my first like viral video, which was that high-speed passenger train. A lot of people were like, well, what'd you do? How'd you do that? What'd you do to make it take off? What'd you do that was right? And honestly, there's other people that launched videos about that train, maybe similar, different, but still they were doing that train. But I just told them, listen, I was like, it was grace. I was like, there was no other reason for that video to take off. It was just, yeah, that's it. Just by the grace of God, it worked out.
Let's do this. Welcome back to part 2 with Paul Eufema and All New Bricks. If you missed last week or the last podcast, make sure you tune in for that. You can check it out on any of your podcast platforms that you like to listen on, or you can check it out on YouTube. We have it videoed as well. But just a short recap, Paul was recently inducted into the Guinness Book of World Records. He has a YouTube channel called All New Bricks. And has, what did I say, 1.31 million subscribers. Is that right, Paul? Right. But who's counting?
1.32.
Is it at 3.2 now?
It might be at 3.2.
Yeah, well, hey, in the amount of time, for sure. So welcome back, Paul. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, excited to be here, Jeremy. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, our last podcast, we talked about kind of your journey, how you got to where you are from being, in your words, broke and kind of a little bit out of hope, to now having a YouTube channel with millions of people, 1.32 subscribers, and one video that we said had 42 million? Is that right? 42 million views? Yeah. Absolutely incredible. So make sure you guys go to his YouTube channel, All New Bricks, and check that out and give him some more views and subscriptions. But I thought what we would talk about today is the monetization of it. And obviously we don't have to, I'll ask questions, and I'm not trying to figure out how much money you make. So answer them however you feel comfortable with. But I think for me, it's fascinating. I'm going to ask questions that I don't know the answer to. It's not like I've talked to you ahead of time and have these answers. But it's fascinating to me to think about how to monetize YouTube. I mean, many people are doing it. You are definitely an influencer on YouTube. With that many people and views, and you've turned it into a career, right? I mean, you're supporting your family through it in a good way, not just barely supporting your family.
It is my only full-time job. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you're far exceeding what you made in your previous.
Yeah. I mean, every morning when I pray with my wife, we just go over the fact that, thank you for what's been given to us. Thank you for giving us this life. And I pray that we don't abuse it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, I open my eyes in our bedroom and I just like pinch myself. It's like, I'm not dreaming. This is real. And we're just so happy with where we are now as a result of being with YouTube. Yeah.
So where you're at now is you make these YouTube videos and as you post them, you monetize it. So tell me, how does that, I mean, I'm a complete neophyte with it. I mean, we have a video that just had 1.2 thousand, not million, 1,200 views, which is really a big deal. Because when you're starting out, it's like, I know for you, I mean, trust me, you've got 42 million people watching a video. You must think I'm an absolute schmuck even saying it, but there is something there. I was like, oh, wow. So actually 1,200 people actually listened to something we produced, and you can kind of start in your head thinking, well, I don't know, maybe if you did this differently or this differently. And then you think think about this, Paul, because I'm an entrepreneur mindset. I would love to run a ministry that was supported through profit centers within the ministry, so we didn't have to constantly be asking for people to donate. Not that hopefully people still won't support it financially, but it'd be great to have a non-for-profit that was supported by functions within, And so I know it's going to take a lot more than 1,200 views and the subscriptions we have, but it would be cool if it ever worked out that it did become a profit center within the organization. So I look at you and I'm like, man, how does that even work? So how do you, I guess it's like 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of watch hours or something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. And I think it might be like 10,000 subscribers. Now understand that the whole idea of monetizing, I mean, it's been changing over the years. Whenever I decided to partner with YouTube / Google, I had to actually fill out an application. I mean, it was an online application, but you just have to fill it out. It was like, what are you doing? How often are you going to be posting? You know, and a bunch of other questions. And you answer it and you hope that they approve it. And so I sent it in. I think it took a month for them to get back to me. And they're like, you can now monetize your videos, which was a huge celebration in itself. That was like, it's like becoming incorporated. You know what I mean? It's like, this is official. I can do this now.
Yeah.
And then it changed. So that was a huge celebration for me. But then it changed to, for a little bit, YouTube was doing videos where like you post a video, you can monetize it. No ifs, ands, or buts. That was it. Like you could just monetize anything and everything. And then what happened is like people were like posting these like hate videos and things that just are not appropriate for all viewers. And so companies like Coca-Cola, who, you know, we all know that Coca-Cola is bad for you. So Coca-Cola puts a ton of money into selling a feeling. And so there would be a Coca-Cola commercial and then all of a sudden this inappropriate video. So all these big companies like Coca-Cola and Volkswagen and a whole bunch of other ones all basically were like, we don't want to have our ad before these videos. We're done with you. Bye.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like everything just like tanked. You know, people were not getting paid what they usually were getting paid. So, I mean, it's definitely, and then they changed their thing to like, okay, now you have to have like, 10,000 subscribers or X amount of views per month to be monetized. And so that's currently where it's at right now, but it has been a roller coaster. There has been like constant rule changes and you just kind of have to like overcome and adapt.
So how do you monetize? I mean, let's get right into it. So how do you monetize? So let's just say I'm to the point, not I or anybody is to the point that they have, I think it's 1,000 subscribers. I don't think it's 10,000, but let's just assume 1,000 subscribers. Okay. So they've hit the 1,000 subscribers. They've hit the 40, I think it's 40 watch hours a week or a month or something. I don't know, something crazy. Okay. So maybe it's 400. I don't know. Let's just assume those levels are met. Okay. And then they put a video out that gets 1 million views. How is that monetized?
Well, I mean, so the video, okay, so the video is monetized right when you put it up. You check, I still have to check the box that I want to monetize this video.
You have to check that box. Okay.
Yeah, I have to check that box. Like it's not automatically monetized. I have to say, I want to monetize this video.
Okay.
But it's it's like seconds,
yeah,
kind of thing. And so like you have to basically kind of think that so January from December, it goes in like a wave. Like in December, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I'm doing this. Like, this is going to pay my bills. This is going to allow me to take my wife out on dates. This is going to, all these things. And then January hits and you're like, why am I doing this?
Oh, so it builds up over time.
Yeah. Everything's building up closer to Christmas.
Yeah, I see.
So, and then even like after Christmas, you have like a week of like people just trying to get rid of product. So you have like ads still coming in, but then January, like nobody's posting anything. A lot of ads you'll see in January are companies that are like just starting out that are, figuring that like, hey, if we, pay for ads on YouTube, like this is the cheapest time to do it.
Wait, so that's okay. So I know nothing about this. I thought you got paid per view, but you're saying you get paid by ads?
Yeah. So, I mean, Google takes care of all of that. I don't do anything with that. So, I mean, Google chooses what ad goes before your video.
Okay.
They usually try and make it relevant. So if I'm doing a Lego Black Widow set, the Marvel Black Widow trailer will potentially be before my video.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like Google decides all that. Now, like how much you make, I mean, so let's just say an ad pops up and you watch 5 seconds of it and you skip it, that'd be like 1 penny for me.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you watch the ad through, then it'd be like 3 cents.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But if you actually click on the ad and blow off my video altogether, that would be like 7 cents.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have those numbers fluctuate, and and Google takes care of all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's basically, they call it paid per click. So yeah, so I'm getting paid, but there has to be an ad there and Google has to decide, hey, this video is ad worthy.
Interesting. So then I should be able to do the math, but I'm trying to do two things at once.
Well, don't do the math off of that. Don't do the math off of that.
No, but even 1 cent. So, but you don't have an algorithm. Like, you can't say, if I have a video gets 10 million views, I'm going to make X amount of dollars.
I would say, like, in October or November, if you have 1 million views, you're probably looking at $1,000.
1 million views, $1,000.
Yeah, but I mean,
on each video. So if you had 100 videos with 1 million views,
right,
that'd be $100,000.
Right. Yeah.
Would be $100,000.
Yeah. I mean, on a really good, on a good month,
Okay.
But in January, it's like, that's like, maybe like $400 for 1 million views. You know what I mean? But then in January, it would be like, $2,500 for 1 million views. I mean, it just fluctuates. It's with the economy.
And you really don't have any control over that. The only thing you have control over is getting views, getting subscriptions.
Yeah, the only thing I have control over is choosing what video to do next.
Because the more views you can get, the more money you can make. But the amount of money you make, you don't have a lot of control over. It really depends on what somebody is willing to pay Google for the ad space.
Right. Exactly.
And then you get a portion of that.
Right. Now, I don't know what they make. Like, I don't know what percentage, and there might be a way to figure that out. I was just never into the numbers in that sense.
Yeah.
And maybe some people know. There's some people that people report on, the back end of YouTube and the analytics, and they're able to figure out, like, hey, BPMs and all these.
What's
other,
BPMs?
I don't know, but I see it a lot. Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how to track it.
So your videos, so the only videos that are being monetized are videos that have ads in the videos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all my videos are monetized, but not all of them have ads playing.
So if it doesn't have an ad, it's not making money?
Yeah, it's not making you money.
So the only way that you make money...
Like, you could, like, play one of your videos and not see an ad. You could refresh the page and watch the video and see an ad.
Really?
You know what I mean? It's just like to me, it's random. To them, they totally know what they're doing.
So you could have 1 million views on a video, but no ads come up on any of those videos, and you didn't monetize any of it.
Well, I'm not going to say, because if you have 1 million views on a video, like,
it's going to have ads.
Artificial intelligence is going to be like, this video has 1 million views, let's throw some ads on it.
I see. And then how does subscriptions work? Does that play anything into being paid?
I mean, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like he has over 1 million subscribers, he must be doing, like, really, really well. Well, that's not necessarily true, because I think it's like, in the first day, I can tell you that probably about 93% of my income comes from YouTube recommending the video. So if you watch one of my videos,
okay,
you'll see a column over on the right side that has recommended videos for you to watch after that.
That's right.
Or if you even watch, the trailer for Pirates of the Caribbean, and then Google's going to recommend a Pirates of the Caribbean Lego set that I've done.
Okay.
So the big thing is recommendations.
And how do you get recommendations? It's
Google's artificial intelligence.
Is it about how you title things, or how you describe them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it used to be, it's definitely title, absolutely. And then the first sentence in your description is key, and your thumbnail. Because YouTube's artificial intelligence takes snapshots like of your video. So like title and first sentence and description and thumbnail used to be extremely important. It's still important, but now like YouTube's able to like take like snapshots throughout your video, and it knows like what to recommend and what like not to recommend off of your own viewing history.
So how do you capitalize, like somebody listening that has a YouTube channel, how do you capitalize on those snapshots? Like
Well, I mean, you just really have to make sure that your title is what your video is about. Like, don't get into that thing that they call clickbait, where they show this like thumbnail that really doesn't have anything to do with your video. They're just trying to get people to click on the video.
Yeah.
But YouTube's artificial intelligence is going to go through that video and know that, well, your thumbnail really isn't relevant to your actual video.
I see.
You know what I mean? And your title.
So having your title in the thumbnail is important?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and plus like your thumbnail is important for like just you seeing it in general. That's like, I mean, you have to understand, like people look at a thumbnail for like, I want to say less than 1/10 of a second.
Yeah.
I mean, they're scanning through. I mean, there's things to look for, like don't put your title in all capital letters.
Really?
Because
why is that?
Typically, people typically have the impression that if you're doing your title in all caps, you're yelling at them.
Maybe I am. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Watch my video.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, there's just things like that. I'm just trying to think like where we got off track there.
I mean, what are some, so, I mean, you started from nothing. I guess everybody does, but I mean, you literally started 2013 with 0 subscribers and 0 views to now having 1.32 million subscribers and having a video. And by the way, I just want to say it's not just one video. It's 42 million on Jurassic World, but then I think I saw 31 million, 23 million, 22 million. It's not like you had this one hit wonder. I mean, you've got almost every video you has over 1 million views, and many of them have in the teens, if not 20s. Really amazing. So what are some best practices for someone trying to start a channel that you would give them to get to the point that they, what are some best practices for getting subscriptions and views? And I mean, obviously content is king, but besides that,
what you have to be excited about it because it's going to come out in your work. If you're just going through the motions, just hoping to get subscribers and buy yourself a car, like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I feel like people can sense that I have respect for Lego, that I put a lot of work into my videos. I mean, you can see it in the comments. A lot of people are commenting like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe the amount of work this guy put in this video. You know, people like, but I never say that I put a ton of work in this video.
Yeah.
You know, and people just like, they feel it. They're like, hey, this guy.
No, it's evident. It's very evident. Yes.
And I think that's huge. So like, don't produce garbage, you know, because eventually it's just not going to work out. And then, I mean, you need to like pick, if you're posting once a week, like I do, pick a day. I try to make my strongest effort to make it every Thursday, so that people know that by the time Thursday wraps up at the end of the day, they can go to my YouTube channel, they can see a new video. So find a schedule, you know, make sure you're excited about it, find a schedule. And I have never paid anybody to like push my channel. It's all organic.
Yeah.
You know, like all of my subscribers, like they didn't see like some ad on Facebook. They didn't see something pop up on somebody's blog saying, watch this. If they saw my channel on somebody's blog, it's because somebody did an article on my channel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I didn't ask them to write that article. So it's all organically grown. So like nobody was pushed into subscribing. These are all people that are legitimately into what I'm producing. So don't get caught up in trying to, you know, push it, because if it's going to succeed, it's going to take off on its own.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Hey, speaking of pushing things, let's stop and thank our sponsor, Ordinary Men and Ordinary Women, for sponsoring the Ordinary Discussions podcast. If you don't know, Ordinary Discussions podcast was created to help cast mission and vision and create discussion with ordinary people within our faith to help encourage and discipleship and also obviously help promote the gospel and the kingdom of God. So Ordinary Men and Ordinary Women is doing great things, but don't take it from me. Let's hear from a few of our past guests and past participants in Ordinary Men and Ordinary Women. What do you think of OM so far?
Love it. It like opens the door and it directs you towards scripture and those types of things.
The Watchman Nee books and things have been really great, helping dig in to kind of, really take our faith a little bit deeper. And so I've really been enjoying that. Fellowship's awesome.
I'm excited about knowing the other guys who I don't know at all and seeing what God does in their lives through it.
It almost seems like, we're building momentum up to something more.
Ordinary Men is like a platform that gives guys the opportunity to walk through discipleship with one another.
So when Chad started Ordinary Men, I noticed a change in him over the course of the few months that you guys have been doing it.
It's just been cool to connect. It's been cool to connect and be in relationship with other people pursuing the same thing.
I'm super stoked on this program.
So I let it grow, and I know that's not a lot of people they need to they need to push their product. I know there's just a way they're I don't know how to say it, because I know there's people that have companies where they need to have billboards. They need to they need to promote themselves that way to grow. But if you're looking to pursue YouTube, I think that you should, if you've got a good story to tell, people are going to watch it.
Yeah. YouTube is an interesting, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. YouTube is an interesting thing. I heard recently that the millennials are, I don't know which generation it is, but we'll call it the millennials, are more attracted to less produced videos. They actually want, I wouldn't work on what you're doing, obviously, because what you're doing is very produced and everybody knows it. But even using cameras that the camera's not very good, it can be fuzzy at times. I don't know why, but it seems like I read something recently where that's where this generation is actually attracted to. I think it's because it comes across as being more genuine and more sincere. I think, I know that's one of the reasons Ordinary Men and Ordinary Women, I feel is growing as fast as it is because it's just a genuine, sincere movement. We're not out to promote ourselves. We're not out to create income for anybody that's leading the organization. In fact, myself and Emily Webb, which is the director of Ordinary Women, neither one of us take a salary. We actually donate back to the organization to run it. So everything we do is not for any of our benefit. It's for the kingdom of God, benefiting the kingdom of God and the sincerity and genuineness behind it. I say that because I believe that, and trust me, we'll still try to do things professional. I want this podcast to be produced well and such. But I think there's been such a level of production in things and such it's taken any authenticity and genuineness out of it. It's when do you know when somebody's real or when they're just behind the screen, full of it. I know it's completely different what you're doing, but I do think there's something to that in YouTube because I watch the stuff that I watch, I geek out on hunting and fishing videos. I don't watch, if anybody's a hunter or fisherman on the listening, I don't watch the End Fisherman. I don't watch Will Primos. I don't watch Real Tree Camo. I don't watch those shows that are highly produced. I watch the Born and Raised guys, which I had on the show, Trent Fisher. Go back and listen to that. That was a good podcast about chasing your dreams and overcoming fears and such. But just the normal guy out hunting, videoing himself and seeing the real deal, because to me that's genuine, sincere, and it's authentic. I think there's something true to that in this YouTube world.
Right, and authentic was definitely the key word there. You're going to sense that these people actually really love what they're doing.
Yeah, you said that earlier. Yeah, yep.
Yeah. If they don't, they're just going to end up falling off. That's why you just really have to be excited about, the videos you're posting. Whether they look like a shaky camera, home video kind of stuff. If you love it, if you're passionate about it, and you feel everybody has a story worth telling.
Yeah.
But you have to just really believe that. It's just going to come, people are going to start subscribing. They're going to see it. They're going to feel it.
So how do you do that though? How do you do, because your channel is so different than most. Like you are an influencer on YouTube. I mean, you have more subscribers and more views than many people that are even considered influencers. The difference is nobody would know your face or name because you're like behind. No, I wouldn't say nobody, but you know what I mean. You're not taking it. You're behind the scenes. Like so how do you look authentic when you're doing what you do?
I believe that audio is everything. If you have, terrible footage but good audio, I mean, people are going to watch it. I mean, if you have like audio that's cracking all over the place and you have like the best footage, nobody's going to watch it.
Well, no, you're making me feel very self-conscious. I hope our audio is good.
No, you have great audio.
I hope.
So like one of the things that in my videos that I do is like every once in a while when you see my hands, like it's because I want you to hear what's happening. It's like if it's a Technic piece snapping together, or it's a wheel fastening to the car, or like I just recently did this Lego duck video, and when you move the duck across the screen, that you could hear the beak or whatever, the what's it on the duck?
The bill. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was going up and down. You could hear it like clicking shut. And I feel like that sound right there has a very nostalgic feeling to it. Like you can remember, like even when I unbox my stuff, I start off the video by placing the video, placing the thing down. You can hear there's a little bit of music in the background, but you can hear that sound. And I feel like for a lot of people, if you're an adult fan of Lego watching, and you take that, like at Christmas time when you were a kid, you take that box and you would shake it, and you'd hear Legos in there. That's a very like memorable, nostalgic, distinct sound that I think that people really enjoy hearing. So throughout my video, you'll hear those sounds that kind of bring it all back. And I think it's just very relaxing for a lot of people.
No, it's so true. When I was watching it last night, I was watching it with Jess. I was like, look at these videos. These are amazing. She goes, how does he do that? And I'm like, well, I thought you actually like took a picture of each one and then pulled it together. So I didn't realize it was a video that you were actually editing after, which is that even blows my mind even more. But yeah, it was really great. And I said, this is a word my daughter uses all the time. I never really used it much until as your kids grow, you start learning new terms and phrases to be cool. But she says that's so satisfying all the time. Like when she'll see something, like they literally watch YouTube videos that are nothing but like watching, I can't even think, like maybe people watching somebody snap Legos together and the sound of it. And I'm like, why are you watching that? And they'll be like, cause it's satisfying. It's so satisfying. Or like I can't even think of somebody chopping onions, or somebody like these have like literally hundreds of thousands, not millions of views. These people are monetizing this stuff. And my my son says, it's so satisfying. And so when I was watching your video last night, I looked at Jess and was like, Reese would say this is so satisfying, but even from like opening the box to hearing it come out, like all those things you're saying, I know if somebody's listening right now and hasn't watched your videos, by the way, All New Bricks on YouTube, make sure you go check it out. They're probably like, this guy, what's he talking about? There's no authenticity in that. But when you listen to it and watch it, there is a part of it that's almost like it's relaxing, and I see what you're saying. For sure. That's pretty cool. I do think passion shines. I think, that's about all I have, Paul, is passion. Okay. I'm not sure I have the intelligence or the wherewithal at times to be doing what I'm doing, but I do have passion, and I do think that goes a long way. Is sharing your passion. So I think not being afraid to do that is important. But that once again goes back to what we talked about the last podcast, which is being true to yourself and authentic to who you are. It's hard to share your passion and show your passion if you're not true to who you are, because if by being passionate, you put yourself out there for somebody to criticize. You show your true emotions and motives and feelings, and that's kind of scary and vulnerable. But I think that's also the very thing that wants people to be part of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I just feel extremely like a lot of people are like, my first like viral video, which was that high-speed passenger train, a lot of people were like, well, what'd you do? How'd you do that? What'd you do to make it take off? What'd you do that was right? And honestly, there's other people that launched videos about that train, maybe similar, different, but still they were doing that train. But I just told them, I just say, listen, I was like, it was grace. I was like, there was no other reason for that video to take off. It was just, yeah, that's it. Just by the grace of God, it worked out.
Where did you, so you say that's your first video that took off. Before that, what was your views and what were your views on that?
I mean, well, it was my first video to reach 1 million subscribers. I don't know how much time fairly quickly. I mean, it was like, 4 or 5 years ago. So
yeah. 1 million views or subscribers?
1 million views.
1 million views. And before that, what was the most you'd had?
I mean, we're talking like maybe like, 20,000
wow
views.
Wow.
Yeah. There's some videos that maybe only had like, 1,500, you know what I mean? But then that passenger train, it just really let me know that like, all right, this is, because remember we were kind of talking about that one thing, like if you're pursuing Jesus,
yeah,
like some doors are going to open and some are not, but as long as you're pursuing, which isn't the frame of thought for a lot of people. Some people just want to like pray and fast and hear.
Yeah.
Where I'm more of a doer. But like having that video go viral like that, just let me know that was, Jesus telling me, keep going. This is right for you. You found your thing.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll have a new thing like 3 years from now, but right now where I'm at, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be.
I love that. There's a quote, Vernon McGee, he's one of my favorite guys. I'll probably say it every podcast or anytime it comes up, but Through the Bible with Vernon McGee. He has a encyclopedia size of books, goes through each book of the Bible and he has his commentary, but it's done in a way that is like very relatable and it's not way over your head. Like some commentary is just like, I can't even like one verse is like 3 pages. It's like, I can't do that. But Through the Bible, Vernon McGee has changed my perspective of the Bible, but he has a quote in there. He says, when you pray for a corn crop, God expects you to say amen with a plow. So right. When you pray for a corn crop, he expects you to say amen with a plow. And I think that's so true. I think a lot of times we sit around and pray. And God's like, okay, you prayed, now go do. Like I'll bring the rain. I'll make the corn come up, but you got to go plant it now, And, right. And so when you said that, like it was his grace, like it went from 20 to, even 100,000 views to 1 million views, in one video, like it just, something happened. I mean, that is so true. I think that's one of the ways that God confirms his plan for you. And there's time, like people, again, your success in YouTube is unbelievable. So I'm not like trying to take away from your story with mine, but that's all I have is my story, right? And so there are many people that worked probably just as hard as I did, maybe even harder at real estate, that probably got by and made decent money, but something, and I know what it was God's grace. Something happened in my business where he took the work that I put in and blessed it in a way that I never could have made it happen on my own. And I think that's what you're saying with your video. It's like, yeah, you were working just as hard on all those other videos, but then suddenly like, boom, God just showed you in his way of showing you. And I think that's when that's one of the ways I feel like that you can know that you're on the right track is when, don't get me wrong. I could be, somebody's going to put a comment in and say, well, just because you haven't seen success doesn't mean you're not doing what God calls you to do. Absolutely. I understand. There may be times that, man, you are plowing the cornfield and not seeing a lot of crop, but that doesn't mean that God's not calling you to plow the cornfield. My point is, it's just one of the cool ways that he does confirm in our hearts and shows us his grace. Because I've just seen that in my own life. It's like, people are like, man, you deserve that. You worked really hard. I'm like, there's a lot of people that work really hard. There's a lot of people that have put out some great YouTube videos, but there's something that happened different, and it was God, Yeah.
And yeah, because there was a lot of videos on that train that were just as good as mine. You know what I mean? Somebody else put just as much work into it as I did.
Yeah.
They took the photos, they talked through it, they gave their thoughts on it. They even talked about the history of the Lego train and why this one is the way it is, and gave their pluses and minuses about. So there was like definitely, just as much as hard work.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just took off. You can say, hey, well, Google's algorithm grabbed a hold of it. Okay, yeah, but why didn't it grab a hold of this person's or that person's? I mean, there's no rhyme or reason, behind it working out the way that it did.
That's awesome, man. It's great to see people have success. It's even greater when they know who gave them what they have, and they give the glory where it should go. Paul, I appreciate you so much being on our podcast and doing 2 episodes with me. Again, I mean, we're such Ordinary Discussions is such a peon compared to what you're doing on YouTube. So for you to give us any of your time is great. I really appreciate it.
Hey, listen, 1,200 views is something to celebrate.
Well, we're celebrating it.
Yeah, I mean, you're 1,200 now, but then 3 months from now, you can have like a 10,000. You know what I mean?
Maybe, or maybe it'll go back to 100. I don't know.
I remember being so excited when I got like my first 1,000 views. I was like, I got like 1,000 people have watched this video. I mean, it was a big deal.
Well, and that's why I love your story, because what we do with Ordinary Men and Ordinary Women is about encouraging the ordinary person. Because we all feel ordinary in our faith. Like even like you have, like I'll say it again, 1.32 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm pretty sure when it comes to your faith, at times you doubt yourself. You feel quite ordinary. It's like, man, I'm not the one that should be doing what God's calling me to do. Or we all have those doubts. And it's really great to have somebody that, like, I have experienced you when you weren't seeing success, right? And you're still the same Paul Euphema now as you were then. Right. So it's not like you're so much more qualified now than you were then. You're the same person. It's just you walk something out in your life. And I, that's where, like, I don't know, 1,200 views, like maybe it's more than that now. I don't know. But my point is, like, if I'm not willing to be vulnerable to the audience and say, man, I'm excited because we had 1,200 views, then suddenly I'm not an ordinary guy. I'm somebody that's acting like that they're somebody that they're not. Like, I'm not being authentic to how I really feel. And how I really feel is God put on my heart to do this podcast. When I did it, I didn't feel like I was equipped to do a podcast. I don't think I'm the most eloquent speaker or the best interviewer, or, I don't think I have the best voice, like whatever, but he put it on my heart to do it. So I stepped out and did it. And then and this is just to encourage people listening. It's like, if I have 15 people listen to a podcast, well, that's potentially 15 people that I'm influencing for the kingdom of God that I otherwise could not influence in my life, right? So if I'm happy with 10 or 15, I'm just happy with whatever, because I'm doing what God called me to do. So then if it's like 1,200, you're like, wow, well, that's 1,200 people actually listen to something about pointing them to the gospel, pointing them to discipleship, that otherwise may not have heard that message without us doing it. So I think it's just, it's more walking out an example for just the ordinary person listening to this podcast. It's like, man, God probably wants to do something extraordinary with your life. You just have to step out and do it. And it's like what you did with All New Bricks. And now, is All New Bricks a Christian organization that's out to promote the kingdom? Not necessarily, but the money that you make from it will support the kingdom. Your life is still about supporting the kingdom and being a Christian and somebody following Jesus and doing what he calls you to do. So, I mean, it all relates, it all relates.
It does. Yeah, it absolutely does.
Yeah. Well, man, so good catching up with you. Thank you again for being on the podcast. Any final words? You don't have to. I don't want to put you on the spot, but.
No, I mean, I think it's good.
All right. Well, congratulations, man, with the Guinness Book of World Records and with this new career and chasing your dreams. And I mean, the whole thing is just it's like a Cinderella story, man. I just absolutely love it. And I'm encouraged by it. And thank you for being on here and encouraging our listeners. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Until next time, let's do this. See you guys.